Hey Georgia, Election Day is Tuesday, January 5th. This time we get to pick our 2 U.S. senators. So take some time, make your plan, and make sure you get to the polls. Remember, who you vote for is a secret, but whether or not you voted is public record, and your voting record gets updated right after the election. So show your friends and neighbors you did your thing and vote on Tuesday, January 5th. Paid for by Majority Forward.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, this is Jenny Walker, and welcome to Closet Conversations. It is January 1st, 2021, and I want to wish everyone a happy new year and thought I would start off 2021 by talking about something positive, which would be the Poshmark IPO, which is initial public offering of stock. Now, back in December, I think it was December 17th, Poshmark filed their intent to go public with their IPO with the SEC. They're currently in a quiet period, which extends through 40 days after their stock goes public. So you won't hear much from them right now. So their stock is going public. This is so exciting. This is very representative of how far they've come, the growth of the company, where they're headed. And I could not be more excited about that. Now, I just happen to have, I think I worked, 8 years at a brokerage firm right out of college. And so I am very familiar with companies going public. I worked with research analysts in the research department of a regional brokerage firm, and I helped them write their research reports, which were basically investment reports that would recommend people buy, sell, or hold a particular stock. So I was there for IPOs. I was there when Home Depot went public. That's how long ago it's been. This is way back in the 80s. The analyst I worked for was covering companies like Turner Broadcasting, which obviously is way back in the day, and furniture companies like Havertys Furniture. So it was a very diverse group of companies. But anyway, I have always been interested in the stock market, and I learned how to do research in that first job, and later in life I went on to do research in the charity sector for President Carter and the Carter Center in Atlanta, the Rockefeller family with the Snargus Institute in New York. And so that information and that ability to do secondary research, it's called, served me and has served me well my whole life. So that's why I feel very confident talking about Poshmark going public because it's something that I understand. So I think this is great, number one. It shows that they have picked a really good time to go public in terms of the trend in people selling online when everything hit with the virus, the COVID-19. Obviously, a lot of things changed for them, and they report about it in this initial paperwork that they filed about the trends, the upticks due to COVID and things like that. But, yeah, this is really, really important. Now, a number of publications have read this filing. It's called an S-1, and it's a Form S-1. Anyone can see this. It's public information. You just go to sec.gov. You search on Poshmark, and that filing will come up. This filing and all future filings will come up directly from sec.gov. Many companies, once they go public, they tend to have a section on their website for investor relations, and then you'll be able to sign up for I do this with Tesla, as you sign up to get alerts when there's news about the stock, and you can even sign up for alerts for its closing price each day and things like that. So there's a lot of sophisticated tools out there now so you can follow what's happening. But yeah, in this filing that went out, the S1, a number of people have written about this online, and they've tried to make sense of it. But what's really telling is that you learn a lot about Poshmark, what's going on the inside that you don't know as on the outside as an individual, or certainly as someone like me who's a seller on Poshmark, as well as certainly a buyer of Poshmark too. But some of the things that came out for companies who were analyzing the S1, and I've not read through it yet. I've pulled it up, and it's quite a read, so you've got to really dedicate some time to it. But one of the things that they talk about, too, their competitors are. Now, we'll probably already guessed on our own who they are, but they're officially naming ThreadUp, eBay, Farfetched, RealReal as among people who are competitors like Amazon, Walmart, Etsy, Shopify, Facebook. Actually, I misstated that. They didn't say RealReal was a competitor. Sorry about that. I made a mistake reading what I'm reading. I'm doing a good job. No, let's start over. Their competitors are Amazon, Walmart, eBay, Etsy, Shopify, and Facebook. As a definite ones that they've named as their competitors. There are obviously others, but these are the ones that they are singling out as their main competitors. They talk about their fees. We all know as sellers that they charge a flat fee of 20% on sales over $15, and under that it's $2.95 a sale. Now, in this document, this says when they do indicate that they may have to reduce the fees in order to attract new people to the platform. And I thought that was, of all the things I read, I thought I'd start with that one. That's the most interesting one of all, because we all know that 20% is a mighty high fee, and we've been happy to pay it, or at least we've been paying it, because obviously we're happy to pay it or we wouldn't keep selling on it. But we've been paying this knowing that there are smaller fees elsewhere, and this is something that they're going to perhaps address. A lot of hedging language in these things, so no one ever says yes or no. It's always a perhaps. So perhaps they will reduce it in order to be more competitive, to draw more people to sell. And if they do, I think that's terrific. I certainly don't pay 20% on eBay, and eBay fees are significantly less, but again, based on certain metrics within the eBay system. So it's never an apples to apple comparison, because each platform is slightly different, with slightly different ways of charging fees, or with eBay you have promoted listings, and it depends on all kinds of, like, your sales volume and how long you've been there, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think that that's great news, that potentially that the fees will be lowered in the future. Now, what we all know about Poshmark, because the company has told us themselves, and I'm not reading it from the S1, but as someone who's been following Poshmark as a seller and listening to their annual conferences and things like that, we know that their goal is to go international. We know that. They've said it. We know that they've gone to Canada as the first market outside the United States. We know that's up and running. We know that they've not yet sorted out the cross-border selling. We know that's on their horizon, because they've told us, and because it wouldn't make any sense otherwise. But we know that that's where they're headed, right? So it was really fun for me to look on the Poshmark website today, and I looked under job openings, and there's a job opening for someone in Australia, obviously lots of jobs in India, but one is the international, director of, international expansion in the United Kingdom. And so there it is on their website. So obviously the UK is high on their list of what's next, right? The UK, and it didn't say Europe, it said United Kingdom. So that's a very specific thing to understand, that they are looking at the United Kingdom as a target market next. How do I know that? It's on their website. So I'm putting two and two together. So anyway, this is all really interesting. Another thing that has come out is that, they have fraud concerns. I mean, everybody dealing in digital online has fraud concerns. I don't think they're more concerned than others, but, when banks or checking accounts get closed, or things bounce, or things don't get delivered, or they call for chargebacks, or I didn't actually do this sale. It was my, babysitter when I wasn't looking, all kinds of things that go on in online selling. And usually companies do have to deal with that. It's real, it's important, and they have a budget for it. So that's always something that I think companies like this will have a pool of money set aside to correct those problems, right? And, I'm just imagining that how this works is, X amount of money each year is going to go to write off all this bad debt, but we're still going to make sure the seller got paid and the person who bought it was reimbursed properly, so that there are no problems. So I think that's something that's probably happening with every single platform. So there's no concern there anymore. there's any more fraudulent activity than some other platform, but I wouldn't know. I don't have any way to measure something like that. I do know from my own silent observations, as someone who's on the platform all the time and someone who's on the West Coast, mind you, I tell you, if you go in at midnight, it's like there's some computer bot somewhere and they start injecting all these new accounts because it's always like these strange names that always have exactly one photo of a person in a particular pose, and they have exactly one item for sale, and you're just like, right. I've seen things that a person shouldn't see at midnight. Really, really, I don't want to get into it, but I've seen things people shouldn't see that have made it up there before they can catch it. And this is the whole thing, is that they've got software to catch all kinds of things on Poshmark. We know that because we'll get some strange spam bot that'll say, oh, I love your item. Oh, my daughter would be interested. If you call me or text me at, 555-123-4567, as soon as you see that, it's a fraud. But new sellers don't know that. And seasoned sellers like myself, we know exactly what that is. So sometimes their sweeping computer recognize that and gets it off before you have to delete it yourself. And then sometimes it doesn't. So we know that stuff is out there, and that's real. Anyway, in terms of what was interesting about reading some of the people behind Poshmark, because, I haven't paid that much attention, but I'm paying more attention now. But, they had like Rachel Zoe behind this and Ashton Kutcher. And, I had to go back a long time to remember Ashton Kutcher had done, I think, was the first celebrity closet on there. So, there's a lot of great people behind this platform, certainly in terms of being able to market and get it out there. But let's just put that aside. Let's just assume that Poshmark would have no problem getting all the right celebrity endorsements and the right business people behind them, because they've come this far. There's no reason to think they're not going to go further, right? But more than that, it's really back to the core business, is the selling. And the pandemic has certainly driven a lot of people to sell online. If you've been following the news, Etsy stock is way up for all kinds of reasons. eBay's picked up. The numbers that are out there with, I think Poshmark had said all of these millions of new sellers had come onto the platform. And, I remember just anecdotally, some information is I had gotten these, I signed up for alerts on Vestiaire Collective, and there are certain brands I look for, like Moschino and Vivienne Westwood. And so I get these alerts, and it's a lot of alerts, trust me, every time something is listed. And I started noticing when the pandemic hit that these alerts were getting more and more and more. And like I'd have pages of alerts all of a sudden, and I could feel the wave. You could just feel that people were at home and they weren't able to go out. Things had been disrupted, so they just had started listing things, right? And I could see that trend. I felt that trend as someone who was seeing it from that side of things. And, yeah, there's all sorts of financial statistics and anecdotal evidence that this wave is here, and it seems to be here to stay, particularly with retail stores that have so many have shut down, and a lot of smaller ones, and then a lot of chains that you've heard of. They're just gone, and it's just shocking. It's very, very shocking, like Century 21 in New York, a place that I had frequented so many times, and have lots of stories behind that. But, yeah, everything is changing shape in the retail landscape, and this secondary market for goods is a huge part of that. And there's so many reasons why. One is access to goods, but two, the sustainability aspect. It's just really, really good for the planet, and it makes good financial sense to buy things less than retail. But if you ask anybody in retail, the suggested retail price was never real anyway, was it? And you have to ask people who know the inside scoop that suggested retail is a fantasy from the very beginning. So it's really just changing anything. But back to Poshmark. So the IPO is coming out. I'm very excited because I am an ambassador. I was invited to participate in their direct share purchase program. Now, this is something that they put out, which is absolutely fantastic, so that you can buy shares at the IPO price when it comes out, the information that Poshmark has on their website. Now, the deadlines have all passed, so I'm talking about it after the deadlines have passed, unfortunately. But I did sign up to learn more about that program so that I could participate, and I have set some money aside so I can do that, because this is not financial advice, but just to tell you that program is out there, and I intend to participate. I intend to participate because, as someone who has a rare glimpse at how this platform works as a seller on it, I like what I see. I see where they're headed, and I see what the potential is, and I see where they're different from other platforms. The community is so strong. It's certainly something that has been a real blessing to me to be a part of the Poshmark community and the reselling community and build up things that way. And so anyway, this direct share program, I think they said it's all closed out, but nonetheless, when the IPO happens, probably in the first part of the year, January-ish, February-ish, they haven't actually said for sure what date it is, but that will be a really important time to participate, because if you've been watching any of the stocks lately come on the market, now certainly this is not a tech stock in the traditional, certainly not on the traditional way. It's a retail stock, but it is a technology stock, to be fair. But I don't think this is the kind of stock that comes out and suddenly the price like triples like the first day. But just in case it did, you have a chance to buy it as an ambassador who signed up for this program at the IPO price, which helps avoid all of those things that can get inflated in the early selling. I know that happened with a lot of stocks recently. And without naming them all, it's out there. And if you know stocks, you know what I'm talking about. So this will be a good program. What my hope is that once they go public, is they will have a way we can put our earnings in some sort of fashion into purchasing their stock. Perhaps it'll be through this, if you sign up an account with the direct share program, there's some way to continue funding that program, in the future. That would be fantastic. Again, not financial advice, but it would be something really fun to have out there. And just so you know, I do plan to talk about this going forward, but there are a lot of rules around it about what you can and can't say. I mean, I am not an investment advisor. I am in no way recommending anything to anybody, and that is what makes it challenging to talk about stocks when you're not certified. Even the people who are certified are so there's a stranglehold on how and what they can say about things. So that's why a lot of people on YouTube, when they talk about stocks and give their opinion, you always hear them say multiple times, it's not investment advice, it's my opinion, this is what I'm doing for me, I'm not recommending it for you. And that's why they do it, because there's so many rules around it, so many laws around publicly traded stocks, public information, insider information, all that kind of thing. So just understand that. And if you didn't know it before, it's kind of cool to learn about it. A lot of structure around this stuff. So all that said, I'll continue talking about Poshmark's IPO. What's really interesting about it is I think about the IPO and I think about who the competitors are. And the first thing that went through my mind was The RealReal is not a competitor, and they don't claim that they are. They're kind of the same but different because they're the consignment model. But ThredUp certainly is a competitor, and that is a really interesting thing because ThredUp is considering going public as well. They've made that known, and to me, that's kind of interesting because they would both essentially, if it times out right, be going public around the same time. And their models are slightly different. And what's different about the models is that with Poshmark, we do all the work. We choose what's available to sell, and we do all the work to put it online to sell it, the photographing, the description, all of that. In the case of ThredUp, where you mail things in, they have to do all the work. They have to photograph it. They have to do the measurements, et cetera, which is similar to what The RealReal has to do. And that's a huge difference, which to me makes Poshmark more of a competitor of eBay than ThredUp, simply because we're doing two different things. And you think of how big eBay is, you think of how global they are, and you think of how much they've grown, then you can really wrap your head around how big Poshmark can get. It's a matter of getting the technology set up to do those things. It's not a matter of can they do it. Certainly, it looks like if eBay can be global, so can other companies doing this kind of thing. So it's a matter of how much time does it take to set up this global system, right? Their test case, which is Canada, it's working. It's working in Canada. We're not cross-border yet. That's something they've been doing. It's something they've been working on for a couple of years. And so it's just a matter of, okay, Canada, now who's next? Now who's next? And so you just literally go down the list until you get to all the countries that you want to be in. And that's a lot of growth in front of a company that's only in the United States and only shortly been in Canada. So you can just see where it's headed. And personally, I know that this whole idea of sustainability and reuse and resale, this is definitely here to stay. And I had said a couple of years ago that I thought that brands would eventually all start taking care of their own products in the secondary market, like a pre-owned BMW certified. And it's starting to happen now. And so it's just fascinating that we're part of this big revolution and this big change. So there's so much to talk about. I'm not going to do it all now because I have plenty other podcasts to put out there. I just want to tell you, if you're not following this, definitely check out Poshmark's IPO, their S1 filing that's been filed with SEC.gov. Check out the news articles that have been written where people who have already read through that have given their opinion. And it's pretty exciting stuff. And I couldn't be more excited for Poshmark. I couldn't be more excited as someone who has an opportunity to invest in this company. Again, my personal opinion. I think it's great because, what can I say? I see where they're headed. I can see it. I've lived it. I'm living it right now with my Poshmark packages over here to the side of me. And I know it's great. Now, again, there's so many things to get into. I'm not going to do it this first podcast because, so much to talk about. But definitely, if you have not joined the Facebook page called Jenny Girl Loves Resale, Research, and Consignment, definitely do. I've been posting every article on Poshmark, and they're going public on there. It basically is a series of about 95% articles, 5% videos that I find about the reselling community. So definitely check that out. And if you want to join up, then you can kind of see what I'm seeing, as it comes out. And that's it. Poshmark, their stock symbol is going to be POSH, which I just love that they were able to get Posh for their stock symbol. They're going public, and I think that's very exciting. And if you've never thought about investing, again, not a financial advisor, it might be something for you to think about. And, a lot of people do well with companies that they understand. And a lot of people say buy companies that you use, like if you drink Coca-Cola, buy Coca-Cola. If you eat at Chipotle, buy Chipotle, that kind of thing. So, there's a lot to be gained by investing in the market, but you've got to learn about it. You've got to get with people who know about it and be able to make some sound decisions on that. But this is very exciting. As a seller, I get it. There's few industries I understand as well as this one, and therefore it makes me more confident in being able to fully understand kind of where they're coming from and where they're headed. As someone who also sells on eBay, I understand that model. As someone who's sold on the RealReal, I understand that model. As someone who's bought and sold on ThredUp, I understand that model. So I understand the differences in those models and understand the where they're headed, the problems, the opportunities. But to me, this is one big, huge global opportunity for this company, and I'm so glad to be a small part of it. And that's it. This is Jenny Walker with Closet Conversations. I look forward to having you with me on a future episode.
Imagine the greatest collection of real-life entertainment on the planet, all in one place. Go ahead. Dare to stream with Discovery Plus. 55,000 episodes from networks like TLC, HGTV, Food Network, and more. If you can dream it, you can stream it. See what I did there? Discovery Plus, coming January 2021. Stream what you love.
Hey Georgia, Election Day is Tuesday, January 5th. This time, we get to pick our 2 U.S. senators. So take some time, make your plan, and make sure you get to the polls. Remember, who you vote for is a secret, but whether or not you voted is public record, and your voting record gets updated right after the election. So show your friends and neighbors you did your thing and vote on Tuesday, January 5th. Paid for by Majority Forward.